And I think it's also safe to assume that sometimes we might struggle in our prayer life. We might go through seasons where we find it hard to pray, or we feel busy, or maybe we just flat out don't really want to. And that can be kind of scary to acknowledge. And so you might be in a season right now where your prayer life is not where you want it to be. Personally, sometimes I feel like it's almost a guilt thing of knowing how important prayer is, but also struggling to make time for it. And then I get frustrated at myself and I feel discouraged, and it's like this messy cycle. What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cameron. I'm super excited for our conversation today about prayer and getting back in the habit of it, and maybe just dealing with some guilt or frustration we might feel if our prayer life is not where we wish it was. Before we get started today, I'm drinking some plain black drip coffee. It's hard to see it in my mug. I promise you guys I have coffee in here. I just don't fill it up all the way because I know I'm going to spill it. It's kind of like a caramel pecan blend, so it has a little flavor to it. And then I just added some cream and it's super good. I got it at Walmart, so it was pretty cheap, but I really like it. 10 out of 10. I want to open up today's conversation by reading Psalm 143, 8 through 10. I feel like it's a really beautiful little piece of scripture that can go a long way in what we're going to be talking about today, and I just kind of want to read it over today's conversation, so let's start with that. Psalm 143, 8 through 10, this was written by David, and he says, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you. Show me the way I should go, for to you I entrust my life. Rescue me from my enemies, Lord, for I hide myself in you. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your good spirit lead me on level ground." I love that scripture. I think it is so beautiful, and it's just like a perfect morning anthem to pray over your day, to invite God into your day and just kind of remind yourself who is really in control, and just inviting God to be a part of your day and lead you and guide you and helping you stay on level ground. I love how it says, "Show me the way I should go, for to you I entrust my life." To me, that is like full devotion, full dying to myself, picking up my cross, like, here I am, Lord, show me the way I should go because I trust you to lead me. The scripture also reminds me just how close God is. I once heard it explained that God is as close as our next breath, which is kind of hard to picture, I guess, or like comprehend. But in other words, he's so close. And so I really want to reflect on that as we're talking about prayer today, and just how present God is in our lives, even when it might not feel like it sometimes. So I think we can probably have this mutual agreement that prayer is really important. Honestly, it's beyond important. It's crucial to being a Christian and to having a relationship with Jesus. Prayer is very essential to that. I think it's a non-negotiable when it comes to having a relationship with Jesus. Like, can you imagine having a relationship with someone but rarely ever actually talking to that person? And that's something I've kind of thought about as a Christian, is that I feel like it's easy to talk about God, but maybe not so much to actually regularly talk to God and talk with Him. And so that's something I've been thinking about and just kind of challenging myself with, is how often do I talk about God versus talking to God? And it's not that talking about Him is bad, but I just think it's like a really thought-provoking thing. Like, oh, I talk about Him, but how often do I talk to Him? How often do God and I have these conversations together? And I think it's also safe to assume that sometimes we might struggle in our prayer life. We might go through seasons where we find it hard to pray, or we feel busy, or maybe we just flat out don't really want to. And that can be kind of scary to acknowledge. But I think it's okay to acknowledge and to say that we struggle sometimes, because we're human and it's a relatable thing, and we're not perfect all the time. And so you might be in a season right now where your prayer life is not where you want it to be. For me personally, sometimes I feel like it's almost a guilt thing of knowing how important prayer is, but also struggling to make time for it. And then I get frustrated at myself and I feel discouraged, and it's like this messy cycle. So I want to stop that spiral. If that's you, I want you to stop that spiral and just kind of remove the focus off of yourself and your imperfections, and just remind yourself who God is. Remind yourself of His kind heart and His love and His grace and His patience towards you. When I am reminded of who God is his loving character, his gentle heart, that he too wants to talk with me. He wants to have a relationship with me. It actually draws me into a deeper intimacy with him when I'm reminded of who God is. So I hope today, if prayer is something you're struggling with, that you don't just keep pushing further and further away, because that's not the solution. That's not what we want to do. We don't want to be even more distant from God. And I think sometimes the enemy makes us feel guilty or makes us feel like we can't turn to him. And so then we just turn away even more. So really quickly, I just want to encourage you to remove that focus off of yourself and start reflecting more on the character of God. Let his kind heart bring you back to him. I think prayer is something that equips us for the day. It equips us for life. It prepares us for the conversations we're going to have and the opportunities that might be ahead of us and all of those little moments in between. And I think when I have that time in the morning to pray and just get my heart and my mind in the right place, it helps me to feel equipped to go out and do the things that God has called me to do. I wanted to share some practical steps. So wherever you are today watching this video, maybe you have a really strong prayer life and you feel like you're in a good place right now with that, and that is so awesome. But maybe not. Maybe you're someone who feels like you're struggling and you just haven't made it as much of a priority as you want to. And so I want to share some practical steps today. This first one I actually did when I was in college. So I lived on campus in college, and the way our college campus was set up is that all the classes were kind of on top of this hill. I lived in a dorm that was at the bottom of the hill, and so every morning I would have this really long walk to class, and it was up a lot of stairs because it was uphill. And I kind of just started devoting my walk to class time as my prayer time because it was a long walk. And if you've ever been on a long walk by yourself or like walking up a lot of stairs, it's kind of a good time to just have some thoughts and I don't know, just to think about your day and stuff. And so I devoted that to as part of my prayer time for the day. Obviously, it doesn't have to be limited to one thing, but I would walk to class, you know, it was early in the morning, it was quiet, it was just a good time to be with the Lord and to pray about my day. It would get really busy after that, you know, I would go to class and then I would go to lunch and then work and then evenings were busy, and so it seemed like the perfect time for me to be intentional and just reflect on my day with God. And so I encourage you to devote something, some kind of chore or activity or something that can be your prayer time. For me now, it's actually my drive to work. I have a 10-minute drive to work, and so it's not super long, but a similar thing where it's in the morning, it's before the day has kind of started, before all the busyness and the craziness, and I just get to spend that time talking with the Lord and just delighting in being with him, delighting in acknowledging how close he is, just inviting him to be a part of my day, my whole day, to lead me and to guide me in his truth, to help me stay on level ground and to be grounded in his word. So whatever that is for you, whether that's doing the laundry or when you go take your dog for a walk or when you're washing the dishes, something that is maybe a little more mundane, but it's a part of your regular schedule, you can devote that to prayer time. This also might seem like a little weird or forced, but I have a reminder on my phone every single day at 2 p.m. to pray. And I started it a while back, and I just kind of kept up with it every day, and usually I'm at work when it goes off. Just a way for me to be intentional in the middle of whatever I'm doing, to remember how close God is and how I don't have to wait until I'm at church or I'm in my quiet time at home with my Bible open. Like, I can pray whenever because that's how close God is. And I want him to be a part of my day at work. Like, I want to pray while I'm in the middle of doing something. I want to be intentional to acknowledge his presence and be fully present with him, even in the most random times, even what might seem like an inconvenient time to pray or to acknowledge God's presence, but he is there, and I want to remember that. So at first, this might feel a little unnatural or a little forced, but I think it really is a beautiful way, and I don't think there's anything wrong with setting a timer to pray or dedicating certain things to prayer. It's just something that's worked for me to help me be more intentional. So I wanted to share that with you if that's something you're interested in trying. However this video finds you today, I just pray that it can encourage you as you keep an ongoing conversation with the Lord. Cheers to that. You guys are so loved. I love you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye!